Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. It's time for the weekly Mod Collection Demo Shop update. What graced our presents this week? Well, we've got a couple of cool custom colors, some strange flying Vs, some Explorers, and something that might be kind of tasty. Let's check these things out. We'll start with the 60 Standard. Offered at $3,100, they gave it a sparkle blue refinish. Not as cool as the Sparkle Top Deluxe in my opinion, but hey, it's alright. That is a great value if this is the exact guitar you've been looking for. Metallic flake finishes, they're not for everybody, but Sparkle Blue's pretty popular, and you don't normally find that finish outside of a custom shop. However, the back was left its normal red color, and it looks like they put the Memphis Historic spec pickups in there, so that'll be an interesting sounding one. Next up, we've got Sunny Green Sparkle 335 figured. Well, you surely can't see the figuring too well underneath that finish, but apparently it's there. Maybe it looks better in person. But that is kind of interesting, having a sparkle finish and still being able to see the wood grain. Normally you don't get that. The color kind of reminds me of the aquamarine ones they used to offer. Kind of an interesting choice of colors. Looks like they did go ahead and refinish the back as well, but then they left the neck red. There's blood in the water. Watch out for the sharks! Next, at $5,600, we had a Silver Sparkle. I guess that's the theme this week, a whole bunch of metallic and sparkle finishes. Silver customs are cool, you don't see them too often. There's the 25th anniversary ones from 1977, and you can find the pewter color in the early 80s. However, they're not quite as sparkly as this one, but they left the back of this one black. So we can't really appreciate it from this angle, but I bet that would look awesome in person because you got the sparkle top, but yet the back and sides will still be that black, so it'll have an interesting cross-section view, I guess you could say. And the nickel hardware looks pretty good on that too. Matches the new color. Was it worth the $600 premium? Let's refresh the page and find out. Yes, it was. Here's a Bengal Burst Access Custom. Looks like all they did was change up the hardware. Come on, Mod Collection. That's demo shop style stuff. I expect more out of you guys. Kind of a similar story on this Custom Shop 61. They just kind of played around with some plastics. I wonder if Gibson saves the more expensive guitars for their own website so they don't get charged so much in the 5% reverb fee. But this one was pretty fascinating. Vidoro Green, which apparently is a throwback to car culture. This V looks pretty good with that finish. It's kind of strange how they have a chrome trem system on it, and then they've got the gold pickups and the ABR1 bridge, and then the black plastics really work well, and I like the golden lettering on the knobs. It was a complete refinish, so top, back, and sides. It looks like they're trying to go for like that 67 style, because you've got that giant heel back here, and it's the big pointy headstock. You don't see many custom shop 67 Vs out there, so I can see how that would appeal to somebody. Next, we've got a Les Paul Tribute Darkback Gold Top. Interesting, they added an ABR1 to it and a hand-wired control assembly. So it must have been their whole conversion ABR1. And I really like the see-through red backplate, that's pretty cool. But now let's get to that tasty one. I don't even like baked beans, but I love this. It's a Les Paul special that they gave a brown finish. Brown plastics that are just a little bit lighter in color. This looks like just such a friendly guitar. I love it. They even went as far as putting the light brown back plates here. Could they have gotten away with like a light brown stinger? Sure. I would have rather just had a nice bean guy back here. And it looks like we have like a little leaf right here on our pickguard. Apparently that's supposed to be a bean pod. But where they really messed up is these are called kidney bean style tuners. That's what Grover normally uses because, well, they look like kidney beans. They should have took those and like spray coated them in like a nice satin finish that's a light brown color too. Perhaps that would have been too much, but I don't think so because we're missing a little bit of light brown up here. This Explorer, I like that they actually put with gold stinger in the title so we knew it would be there. Because they basically just swapped our pickups out, gave it a golden treatment, and then gave it the golden stinger. You don't see stingers too often on Explorers. I don't know if I like it or not, but I'm glad they did it. Next up with a Les Paul Studio Neon Lilac Burst for $2,100. This is one of those ones where it probably looks way better in person, but it just looks like they sprayed the edge in a light purple color and then you get like a dark, almost black purple in the center, or maybe it kind of color shifts. We've got the HP style UFO knobs all chromed out everywhere else, and then our poor unfortunate Gibson logo. Like, I'm surprised they didn't fix that because it is so off center. It just looks really bad. But I guess at least they colored it over purple. So I'm curious, did they just spray this over purple and that's the reason why this was a factory second? Or did they actually take the time to replace it with a purple Gibson logo and they messed it up? That's pretty rough for paying a premium for it. But somebody didn't care, they bought it. It was nice to see a Les Paul traditional again. They did it up in what they called Hang 10 Green. So this kind of reminds me of the Cascade finish of the Les Paul Catalina series. I like the contrast of the cream binding and that really light blue ocean finish. I mean, it's great. I like it. They chromed everything out, did a complete refinish, and they must have liked it enough to put that decal on it. But whoa. 2021. That must have started life as one of these Guitar Center exclusives, the Trad Pro 5. Because as far as I'm aware, that's the only way you can still buy a traditional yet today. I'd always figured most of these were just like old stock. Next up, Temecula Teal. Perhaps a reference to a city in California? Not sure. But it's kind of similar vibes to that last one. It's just you have a little bit more stark white binding on this, and it's a Les Paul Custom Access. And they were too lazy to do the back in the custom color. But I will give it to them. They at least did the headstock up like that. And that's probably one of the coolest ones this week just because of that. I was fully expecting to see a decal on this one, but then I looked at the headstock and it's like, we're never going to see that on a Les Paul Custom Access, are we? Because, maybe they could fold it around the stinger, but it'd probably look weird. They would have to, cover up the serial number, and that probably wouldn't work. So I started to think, well, couldn't they just put it on the neck? It's not like you really feel it, but it would look strange right there. I've got an idea. Just remove the logo on the headstock and put it on there. It would kind of look like a Gibson Sonics headstock. This week also saw the third Fancy Studio. Now, out of the three that we've seen, I think this is my favorite one. It's got less leg vibes going on and more so custom pinstriping stuff because it has that extra layer of silver. So it kind of reminds me of the Guitar of the Week Lava Flow finish, but in a newly reimagined way. The gold hardware doesn't hurt. We've got custom tuners and a new silver Gibson decal. Like the other ones, they also did the design on the back. And hey, there we go. We were just talking about that, putting the decal over stuff. Now, this one had enough room to be put down if they really needed to. But wow, that's an old one again from 2013. But I was tempted to actually get this one because once again, another Gibson government case. Those things are worth money. So after you sell that thing off, you're basically just paying brand new Les Paul Studio prices. So not too bad. This Junior was finished in what they call blue-green unburst metallic with pinstripes. As far as pinstripe jobs go, it looks pretty good, but it looks kind of basic. We've seen this design before. It's like they're just copy and pasting it. I believe if we zoom in here, it might say Harris, because he's the one that does a lot of pinstriping for Gibson, like we saw it on the N225. And I'm sure it's not his fault. They're probably just like, hey, we like that one. We want you to do it again. He's like, all right, I'll keep doing it. Kind of reminds me of a rising phoenix. But the chromed out hardware and the see-through pickguard, that works great. It looks like this might have some sort of a color changing effect to it as well, because that's a beautiful teal finish right here, and it's a little bit more dark there. You can kind of see that same effect here. It's either that or there's just a random purple spot on the neck. That is pretty cool, but apparently not cool enough to get the decal. And lastly, we have Moron Metallic. It's like a red color. Oh wait, no, that's not Moron, it's maroon. But this appears to be a 2019 Les Paul Custom that they thought was good enough to give the decal. I love that decal, contrasting against the black back though, that looks sweet. And they at least refinished the back of the guitar, so I'm really hoping they left the sides a black finish, because that would be cool, but I can't quite tell from the available photos. That's all for the mod collection. Now let's check out the demo shop. First, we got one of those Tribute Ravens from the Guitar Center exclusive. You can check the review out here. They added a pickguard, which makes these things look better. I really like the chromed out plastics and the silver pickup rings and the clear knobs there, but it's really all about this wood grain right here for me on that one. That's a cool example. But whoa, zoom in there. There's a little bit of flame figuring in that neck. Nice. See-through back plates as well. Here's something I have issue with though. These are only $1,100 brand new. Why are we paying such a premium for those mods? Perhaps it's because they upgraded our pickups. There was a 64 reissue 335 in VOS Candy Apple Blue. I think we've seen one of these before. It's just a sweet finish. I could see some nice Les Paul standards being done up in these. There was an alright price if you were looking for a 3-pickup Black Beauty. But check this Lefty 335 out. So I've had a natural one of these figured ones on order for a year and a half, and they're telling me it's gonna be forever, even longer, and they offered me to swap out for one of these. I really hope my top looks very similar to that, because that is awesome. Even the back's pretty nice. I like how it's not perfectly straight. It's a little bit more at an angle. This wasn't the worst price in the world for a Studio Plus with a warranty, but honestly, for a Plus top, that's a pretty garbage top. I've seen plain tops with better ones. And hey, we talked about this last week, the bubbling, chipping lacquer on the very early Murphy Collection guitars. So from far away, this just looks like your average reissue, right? We've got a couple of dings here and there. So maybe it was used, maybe it was aged. Then you get to the back, nothing looks too crazy, right? But then you get to the headstock, that's when it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely been aged. You got a lot of wear around the edges. But uh-oh. There's the chipping. I actually had somebody buy an aged guitar from me very recently, and they asked me, does the finish checking make the finish fragile? Is it going to chip off? And I think it's because he watched this. No, it shouldn't, but apparently there was some issue with these early ones. Generally, finish checking, when they age it, it's just like scratches in the finish. You can feel it, but it's not going to chip and flake off like this. Even on vintage examples, unless it's caused by moisture damage, you generally won't have any like chipping or flaking or anything to worry about. So this is another one of those kind of ticking time bomb ones in my opinion, but they're not giving you the best price on that one. This classic has a pretty interesting top, but not too much more to say about the back. They gave this custom a little bit of 70s bling with a TP6 tailpiece. This 59 reissue looks pretty plain from the front, but then you get to the back of the headstock. Ooh, there's some interesting figuring in that one. And strangely aged tuner tips. I think they went a little bit crazy with their gunk that they put on the tuners, because generally you don't get that. You get like built up finger gunk around the edges that's like a black line, and like the truly old ones will start to shrink. I can't wait till they find a way to put those on, but like make them still functional. And a cool classic white Les Paul custom. But now let's move on to our sold inventory. The 60 standard was really cool. So they changed out all the plastics to black. In my opinion, that cheapens the vibe, but with this dark cherry sunburst color, it works well. It gives it an evil hue. We've got a Vibramate spoiler on what looks like a traditionally installed Bigsby, but pair that with the slightly flamed top with the awesome wood grain rings, that is a nice one. The back's kind of boring though. We had an okay deal on one of the exclusive olive drab Flying V's. To go along with the olive drab, they also had one of the new Exclusives Collection black versions. An absolutely screaming deal, $1,600, wow. Remember, these are like $2,800 brand new now, something like that. They've increased the prices a few times this year. It's hard to keep it straight. But this is Tri-Burst, so that means it was a Guitar Center exclusive originally. But there's gotta be like a headstock repair or something. Well, nothing quite like a repair that I see there. So maybe not. Just an alright deal if you can live with some finish touch-up and some other light wear and tear. Nah, okay, I see. Somebody messed the nut up. But still, $1,600 with a warranty? Nice. And hey, another one of these modern double cuts. Didn't last too long at $3,300. I remember when these first came out, they were hard for dealers to sell. But now that they're out of production, they kind of have their own cult following behind them. They are interesting guitars. You can check out my reviews and demos here. I've done 2 of them, the standard and the semi-hollow. Now going over to the European demo shop side of things, we had a Trad Pro 5 in Satin, which is... How? How did that end up over there? That's a Guitar Center exclusive. Must have got put on the wrong truck across the sea. But wow, that looks great. I love that mahogany top with that satin finish. There was a 60s Tribute, regular SG Standard, J50, a Songwriter, an interestingly modified Les Paul Special. That kind of reminds me of the early days of the demo shop US side. The Olive Drab Les Paul Special exclusive. And honestly, just not that much interesting to talk about for this week. Alright, Troglodytes, I hope you enjoyed your recap this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.